Hello.
Dandavats Maharaj. Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you, we can see you. And you are a co-host now, so you can at any time, you can push the button for the turning on microphone, turning off. So yes, we are ready to hear from you about this glorious day.
Is Bhakti Lalita here?
Not yet, but she is coming. Yes.
Okay. All right, good. Have you sing the songs?
No, not yet. In the morning, of course, yeah, we had a program with Bhakti Lalita. We sang a lot. We read the
Wonderful.
poetry of Govinda Maharaj, the poetry of Srila Sridhar Maharaj.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Melinam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in dark of ignorance, and I had enlightenment by the source of divine light coming from Sri Guru and his grace. So Sri Guru and his grace, it's a special term, because when Lord Krishna has most magnificent mood of mercy, he manifests as Sri Guru. You know, Krishna has different moods, the moods of justice, the mood of compassion, and his mood of divine mercy. When he experienced that mood, he takes form of Guru and begins salvation of fallen souls. Actually, by the laws of karma, everybody gets what they deserve. That was signed by the concentration camp in Germany. You get what you deserve. And so it's kind of like, hey, that's my karma. I need to be prosecuted, tortured. You know, obviously I've done something in previous life or this life. And somebody would say to Guru Maharaj, oh, you know, justice, we're fighting justice. We want justice. Justice is everything. But Guru Maharaj would say, yes, justice maybe in the world of matter has meaning, because without justice, you know, you cannot have hope and life in this world. But what about a world where justice is the least existence condition? What about a world where justice, you don't really need justice because everyone is fair. Everything is fair. Everything is divine. Everything is going by the will, and everyone is equally participating. It's very difficult to realize that such a plane of consciousness can even exist. However, you can understand that it's not just possibility, it's the perception of Vaikuntha. So when you go to the world of Vaikuntha, Vaikuntha not just run on justice, it's run on divine love and mercy. And justice is the minimum based. So Guru Maharaj used to say, who's looking for justice, he's trying to remain in this world and boundary of this world. But we as devotees, we're not looking for justice, we're looking for mercy. And mercy is the highest expression. So Shakespeare is a great, you know, English writer. He wrote in some of his writings, he said, what make the king a king? Somebody can say, well, the power, the willing power to punish and destroy. But Shakespeare said, yes, but that's not exactly what give the king divine position. You know, you cannot achieve divine position based on fear. So if you see in Judaic-Christian concept, everything comes from fear of God. But where's love of God? Where's faith and belief? So the fear, level of fear, it's level of how to say, instinctive existence with fear. So that is the level of human life, because we live by instinct, fear, sex, food, and that's like instinctive life of animal. Well, even animal at a certain point, you know, give up the fear. Maybe we'll fight to the end. But in the highest world of consciousness, supreme consciousness, there's only one expression of fear to lose Krishna. See, it's not about, oh, I'm afraid of God. No, I'm afraid of lose my connections, my loving connections with God. That's what my fear is all about. So if I really go in a particular manner, like conscious manner, with understanding how the spiritual beings thinking, they're not thinking in God because he's so great, he mighty, he can punish you. You know, he's a father. Father can punish the son. Father can sacrifice the son. No, it's not like that. It's more that you think that, you know, he's so great, he's so amazing, and he's loving and kind, and there's no place for fear in spiritual world. There's only one fear: to lose that magnificent Krishna, to lose association of devotees, to be in forgetfulness in material existence. So that's why we're not talking about, you know, fear or justice in the spiritual world. So Guru Maharaj explained mercy above justice, love beyond the rules, beauty over power. So the principle of spiritual world, Krishna controlled by beauty, not by power. In Vaikuntha, sometimes Narayan showing opulence and power. You know, when you need power to enforce, to fight. So even Krishna is not only using his own power, you know, but when Krishna fight demons like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, he take different divine forms. He normally use the power to destroy the demons. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur interestingly say, or maybe not him, but someone Vaishnava poet, they say, what is this avatars? They always come and beat somebody because that's the only way you fix this world. And Mahaprabhu, he's not coming to destroy anybody. He's coming to forgive everybody and forget their, you know, sins. So, Anarpita Charam Charit Karunya Avataram, out of all the avatars like Nrsimha, he, you know, killed Hiranyakashipu. By killing, he's liberating. But you have to understand, Nrsimhadev is not coming to Hiranyakashipu to talk philosophy. Prahlad Maharaj tried. His own son tried to preach to his own father. It didn't work. It's amazing how people are stubborn. They can't even hear from their own son. Like, you know, when you sometimes preach to your own parents or you're talking to your relatives, they can't get Krishna consciousness. Oh, why you have to eat meat? Why you have to give up eating meat? Or why you have to worship Indian God? You know, they'll ask you so many stupid questions. And so sometimes, even in a very proximity, close relationship, like son-father, no one will hear from him. You know, Hiranyakashipu, out of his ego, he couldn't listen. He couldn't listen to his own son. In fact, he wants to kill his own son after preaching. So be aware of that. But sometimes when you preach, you might be on the edge of being destroyed. And why? Because it's ego. See, people don't want the truth. They want the appearance of the truth. They don't want security. They're willing to go to shitty job, work for shitty company all their life, just hoping security. They always want somebody to take their responsibility for them. And they're willing to slave themselves. See, very few people, they're entrepreneur, they're willing to risk everything. A lot of people just want to slave. They just want to have a peaceful life. And I just want to do this 9-to-5 job and come back home and do my little thing and go on my little weekend and get my little vacation, get my little benefits. So the Julius Caesar said, those who doesn't risk the most. And why I'm talking about risk? Because really to accept the divine mercy of Lord and the Guru and Vaishnavas, you have to risk everything. You have to put everything on bait. And Guru Maharaj said, your beginning of surrender begin when you're willing to surrender yourself. And at that moment, with your own self, you're willing to give up everything else. It's not like, hey, I just want to surrender. Can I keep that money with me? Oh, I'm yours, but you know, this is mine. You know, this jewelry is mine, but otherwise I'm yours. No, Krishna has to accept you as a whole thing with everything you have. And it's very scary. But interestingly, when Saraswati Thakur were passing this world, Jadava Maharaj was the youngest of his disciple Brahmacharya. And Saraswati Thakur, before passing the world, he said, I want to give you sannyas. I want to do something for you. You've done so much service for me, but I want to do something for you. And Jadava Maharaj was very young, Brahmacharya. He said, I'm very young. I just over 20 years. I don't know if I can make it. I'm afraid. And Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, looked at Jadava Maharaj, and he said, you trying to surrender to that divine ultimate being who's even fear afraid. Remember, even personified fear, afraid Nrsimha Dev, or like Parashuram forms of Krishna. You say, you offering yourself to Krishna, what is the fear? And Saraswati Thakur explained, devotee has only one fear, to lose Lord. So the fact is, you're unprepared, uncertain. It's okay, because spiritual life is called uncertainty position. We're never sure that we can fulfill Krishna, or it's an objective. It's not an objective world. It's the world of our aspiration. But you should be, remember, once you offer yourself to Krishna fully and solely, Krishna will accept you. And that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, as you surrender to me, I will accept you. As you surrender to me. It's not easy to surrender. So surrender is not a one-time job. It's a continuous moment. It's like, when husband and wife trying to build peaceful relationship, they have to remind each other of their love, care, and affection. It's not like, oh, I love you 20 years ago, that's good enough. So it's a mutual exchange. So Krishna's trying to serve his devotee, devotee trying to serve Krishna, Krishna trying to be kind to devotee, devotee trying to be kind to Krishna. And it's not a simple thing. It's a very, very, sacrificial, very deep, very divine moment. And sometimes, in this world, devotee have to disappear. So why is devotee disappearance is important? Why we celebrate disappearance days? Because we celebrate today disappearance days of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Guru Maharaj. And one time I've heard his lecture when he spoke about disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And the way he told this story, it was so divine and so transforming and changing that honestly, I almost cried. And Guru Maharaj, when he told that story, he also cried on the end, because he told the whole story. And nothing changing you like participating and disappearing pastime of Vaishnava. Therefore, Sri Haridas Thakur disappearance is fully described in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And when Haridas Thakur met Mahaprabhu, he was laying down, and Mahaprabhu said, why you're laying down? And Haridas said, I cannot tolerate the fact that I have to be in this world and know that you're not here. I know after some time you will disappear, you'll do your pastime. But that pastime, I cannot tolerate. I want to die, to disappear before. And Mahaprabhu said, look at Haridas Thakur with eyes full of tears, and he said, whatever the pure devotee desire, Krishna will fulfill that. So next day, Mahaprabhu come to devotees and called devotees, and he said, I'm going to show you something you've never seen before. And they were like, what? He said, I want to show you something that is not being seen by Brahma, Shiva, and other gods. What is that you want to show us? So he's taken devotees to the beach where Haridas stayed by Siddha Bakul. And Haridas internally fully prepared for departure. And he's like fully prepared to end his external existence and merge into divine existence. But he's already dealing with Lila, it's already pastimes. It's like What else you want? But Haridas Thakur very firmly thinking, it's my will to disappear from this world, like seeing this divine form alive. I don't want to hear news that Mahaprabhu no longer with us. My pure hope to meditate on divine Mahaprabhu form and see his divine form. And as I leave this physical body, I want to just experience the grace of Mahaprabhu. That's my highest wish. And when he expressed this, Mahaprabhu said, Haridas, are you sure? He said, I'm just a little ant, little insect. When you walk on the road, you step on an insect, and the insect died. What's the change for the world? Then when Haridas Thakur saw Mahaprabhu, he was fully prepared. Mahaprabhu came, and everybody were astonished. So Mahaprabhu stood up in front of him, and Haridas Thakur hold the feet of Mahaprabhu and chant mantra, Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya, Krishna Chaitanya. And he passed away. He left physical body. And everybody was shocked. Then Mahaprabhu taken body of Haridas Thakur, take his body and wash in ocean. Because remember, Haridas Thakur was very skinny and very old. And Mahaprabhu was 2 meters high, very strong. So he's taking his with own hand, washing in the ocean. And after ocean, he's dancing with the body of Haridas. Haridas like baby. So Mahaprabhu's dancing with his body, and he's putting his body on sand, and with own hands, he's making samadhi, and putting Haridas Thakur in samadhi, and then put over. And then he told to all people from Puri, the sellers, prasad sellers, he said, you give in charity whatever prasad you can give. And the temple people were very happy. Everybody gave big stack of prasadam and they brought. And all the Vaishnavas who were present in this assembly, they had big kirtan and they took prasadam. And interestingly, Govinda Maharaj explained, when Haridas Thakur, all life he's chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, non-stop. But as moment of dying, specifically he's taken name of Chaitanya, name of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained, he say, Hare Krishna Mahamantras require a lot of qualification. Amavasya, Namaparat, Shuddhanam. But one who can take name of Chaitanya has no offense. Means anybody who chant name of Lord Chaitanya will get greater benefits. That's why devotees say singing Jaya Shachinandana, Jaya Guru Hari. But some devotees say, well, then why we need to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra? And Gurudev said, that is the will of Mahaprabhu. It's Radha and Krishna. Radha Bhava Duty Subha. It's the full Mahamantra. But Mahamantra for qualified. Like, it's not that easy to think you're qualified. But Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we say, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gadadhara, Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda, it's the full expression of the highest mercy of the Lord. So Guru Maharaj used to chant Nitai Gauranga, Nito Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai. Guru Maharaj used to stay and meditate on Gauranga Mahaprabhu. His very last pastime, he did not chant Hare Krishna. He chanted Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai, Jai Nitai, Nitai Gaur Haribu, Nitai Gaur Haribu. And many times on his lecture, when he speak about Radha and Krishna divine pastime, he mentioned the name of Nityananda Prabhu, Jai Nityananda, Jai Nityananda. Why? Because Nityananda is Adi Guru. Without his green light, it's actually offensive to describe pastimes of Radha and Krishna to non-believers. Some devotees think, very neophyte. Oh, if I just open Ujjvala Nilamani or other book and I read about Krishna embrace Radha, I'll get so much benefit. But actually, this is for believers. Like, this is for believers. What is the level of your belief? And what is the level of your experience? Are you beyond sexual perception, or you are still trying to purify your mind and senses, by sadhana? So most people say, I don't know, I think I'm not. Then Gyani prasan udapasya namanteva jivanitam subaritam pavadiya bhartas tanestitam shrutitam tamanan manopir. Lord Brahma said, Gyani prasan udapasya. If you can hear, give up your gyan, means your judgment, because you don't have any judgment when it comes to infinity, and just Gyani prasan udapasya, to listen from devotees. That's why I spoke in the previous lecture that association of devotees is the highest possible thing. It will really change and transform you. But you have to have some faith in devotees. So devotee has higher faith. He maybe has higher faith to Krishna and Guru, but you don't have that. So you have to have the faith in devotee. That's why when Prabhupada came, interestingly, Western people knew Bhagavad Gita, and many people said, we know Bhagavad Gita, it's a very great intellectual book. Emerson read it, the German philosophers read it, but it says in scriptures, actually, you cannot get mercy of Krishna until you get mercy of devotee. First, you have to get mercy of pure devotee. So when Bhagavad Gita, given by pure devotee, it's a different thing. It's not the same. It's not just a book. It's not academic Indian philosophy. It's something very deep, because the end of the story of Bhagavad Gita is Bhakti Yoga, and that Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavad Gita has 3 parts: Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, and Bhakti Kanda. So Shankaracharya, he broke Bhagavad Gita in 3 parts. He extracted from Mahabharata, and when Shankaracharya, thought Bhagavad Gita, his Bhagavad Gita is Mayavad. It's like in Gyan. So there's Jnana Kanda about the modes of material nature and everything. That's knowledge. And Upasana Kanda, how to deal with that. So the Bhakti Kanda is for those who are highly fortunate to connect with devotion, the path of devotion. That's why, we are worshiping devotee. And disappearance of Haridas Thakur, or disappearance of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, disappearance of Guru Maharaj, any great Vaishnava, it's a big thing. How big it is? I was present of several disappearances, and I can tell you, nothing is more purifying than that. When Srila Govinda Maharaj left his body, divine body, and I was with him, I can tell you, like, my spiritual life before and after, that one day did 100 billion lives for me. One day of disappearance. And I personally present by greatest fortune. So I'm not just telling you some blah, blah, blah. I can explain this from my heart, but I cannot, So when Govinda Maharaj disappeared, I wrote one article. And that article been translated in, many languages, and devotees read it. But when devotee told me, like, oh, can you tell me again the story? I said, no. I said, why? I said, I don't think you understand. The impact of this occasion is so strong. I cannot represent this feeling second time. You can read that article if you want to, but I'm not gonna, recycle to you. It's the same as Bhagavad Gita. When Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, after the battlefield, everybody came to Krishna and said, hey, can you again tell us the story that you told to Arjuna? And Krishna said, no, I can tell you something of that nature, but I cannot tell you the same thing, because I have to convince my friend. So when you need to convince somebody, when your friend in trouble, when your friend destroyed, you have to tell him the most important things ever. It's like, sometimes when you're convincing your wife or your child, it's not something you're like talking philosophy. It comes to your heart. So it's not just, some random talk about philosophy. Hey, let's smoke something. Let's get some tea and talk about philosophy. I really like to talk philosophy. Go to YouTube. There are a bunch of, bloggers and people will do it. But when it comes to your personal Krishna conscious level, when you have inner connection with devotee, with Guru, with Vaishnava, real connection, not superficial connection, then this thing will become to you unbearable and the most purifying. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj is being Vedavyas and putting in Chaitanya Charitamrita the highest spiritual substance, put the departure of Haridas Thakur. In other books, there's no departure mentioned. Also, Bhagavad Purana, Maharaj Parikshit departure is mentioned through the whole book. Think of this as 18 chapters of, it's all leading to his departure. And, you know, Krishna is a great storyteller. Krishna is an expert. And he's inspiring devotees to reveal the deepest possible things. And remember, in art of storytelling, the drama is most touching. Like, you know, Ramachandra fighting demons and getting back his beloved Sita and then finally sending her to the forest. That's a deep drama, unbearable drama. You know, Krishna's family kill each other, you know, on the bank of Prabhasa Kshetra, and his children going back to Vaikuntha, but, you know, under pretend of killing each other. You know, drama is something that really, really moves our heart. And devotional life is not entertainment, it's drama. Like when you join Krishna consciousness in the beginning, you think, oh, I really love God. Krishna is very nice. Now I'm going to chant. I can put this, I can do this, I can do this. After some time, you understand, no, I am materialist. I don't have any love of God. In fact, I don't even know if I believe in something. But, you know, Guru and Vaishnavas, they believe in you. Like I spoke today to one young man who said, like, oh, I've lost my life. I'm 27 years old. I don't have any future. I said, you don't have any future just because you don't believe. And he said, yes, I don't believe in you. I said, good, but we believe in you. The fact is you don't believe, it's a very common fact is frustration. Everybody gets frustrated. But you know what? We believe in you. And you know what? You'll survive. Most people survive in the war or circumstance when they have to survive for someone, not for themselves. If it's easy for myself, I'll just die, you know, what do I care? Do I need to suffer? But when you have, you know, purpose, you survive for your family, for your daughter, for your kids, for your country, or, you know, there's the greatest motivation than yourself. So, you know, who we are actually very insignificant beings. Our life is very short. We're not very smart. I would say we're very unsmart. I think in many of the ways we're lazy, fat. I mean, somebody externally fat, somebody fat in the brain. And, you know, we don't really like believe in things. Like our belief is very superficial, that's why there's great stories of Vaishnava departure and Vaishnava appearance and Vaishnava suffering. Like you have to understand, Vaishnava is not coming to this world to enjoy. They enjoy with kirtan, but really their life is unbearable separation from Krishna. Ashlishida padaratam shumam adarshana mamahato karotuva yatha tatha nalampato mat prananasnatu evana para. So Mahaprabhu say, Ashlishiva padaratam shumam, even if you never look at me, you still my Lord. This is the sign of true love. Not egoistic love, I'm demanding my attention, you know, please, Krishna, please, you know, dance in front of me. Krishna, tell me that you love me. Krishna, tell me that I'm good. No, Ashlishiva padaratam pinashumam, adarshanam. Even if you never appear to me, mat prananastu, you're my prananath. You are my heir. I cannot live without you. And that is the highest expression of devotional path. So where do we get that devotion? Like, is that available here on the street? Like, do we demonstrate that devotion? Of course not. It's coming from true divine personalities like Haridas Thakur, like the Vaishnavas like Gurudev, and by hearing these stories, our polluted heart become purified. After some time, it become polluted again. So don't think it's like, oh, I've heard that story and now I'm purified. Now I can go smoke. No, you will, the moment you exist in Krishna Katha, you will be pure. But afterwards, you come back to your mundane stuff. You start thinking with your GPT chat, material logic, and thinking, oh, I need to make money, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like so many things you're going to think. But when you're in pure flow of Krishna consciousness, when you're connecting with Guru and Vaishnava, when you are merging into ocean of scriptures, and you are present in that scriptures consciously, you will have the most fortunate moment of your life. Because at that very moment, your true inner self will be connected with divine substance. And that's called Krishna consciousness. Everything else is before or after. So before or after or Marco. So that's what I want to tell. It's quite late here, and I spoke to the old days. I had some Hollywood. Nrsimha Prabhu from Prabhupada disciple brought some of his Hollywood buddies, some filmmakers. So we spoke a lot about different spiritual and non-spiritual things. And tomorrow is a big day to prepare. So I don't want to take a lot of your time. If Bhakti Lalita is here, I think she can say a few words, but she also shared that Govinda Maharaj's departure. And last thing I want to say, because she knows so much. I don't know as much as she knows. When I say knows, I'm not saying, oh, she read more books than I am. She's more surfing on the internet. No. When I say she knows, I really say she knows heart of Gurudev. And she knows Gurudev mood. So that means she really has the knowledge. And this knowledge you cannot get in a book and internet. It's coming by the grace. So when I asked one time, oh, Srila Gurudev, how did you, or maybe not me, somebody else, how did you survive death of your daughter, of your own child? Because Gurudev had, 3 children and one of them died. And Gurudev said, after surviving pastime death of Guru Maharaj, everything else was possible to survive. Means my biggest life was focused on my Guru Maharaj, and I barely survived his departure. Then, my own daughter dying is very sad and very bad, but, after I did that experience, everything else has become bearable. So Srimati Bhakti Lalita Devi Ki Jai, and she's qualified to speak on all these matters.
Jai Srila Bhakti Bimal Avadhut Maharaj Ki Jai.
Forgive my French. I'm just improvising from very little that I have, very little, what I've heard from lotus mouths of Vaishnavas.
You've given so much, Maharaj, and wonderful to see you and hear your voice. And thank you for joining us, even though it's a little late for you. Jai Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Tirobab Maha Hotsav Titi Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. The giver of Guru Maharaj. By Gurudev's grace, we got Guru Maharaj. Otherwise, the Western world would have no access to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. He was not inclined to mix with others what to speak of the Malechas from the whole Western world. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada also instructed his disciples and followers to go for further guidance and support to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. So by this inextricable link and request from the higher Vaishnavas, we're getting Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Gurudev insisted so much, I will take care of everyone, you just speak 5 minutes. And that's how all these beautiful books came. Search for Sri Krishna, Loving Search for the Lost Servant, Golden Volcano, Sri Guru and His Grace, Subjective Evolution. Just with these 5 minutes, which turned into hours, these talks that Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave to the Western world, the Western devotees. And as this morning we were glorifying Srila Sridhar Maharaj and acknowledging this occasion, Srila Gurudev also, I mentioned, had all these English books taken from English talks to the Western world and the devotees that approached him. Gurudev had these books translated into Bengali because some of these things had never been heard before by Srila Sridhar Maharaj in Bengali. So from English to Bengali for a change. Very unusual. So by Gurudev's insistence, everyone got to meet Srila Sridhar Maharaj, to get his association, his connection. Srila Sridhar Maharaj didn't want the Westerners to stay in the Chaitanya Saraswat Math. He requested, go to, Drumadweep, Madhyadweep, set something up and then come and visit. But Gurudev said, no, we must give shelter to everyone, and little by little making accommodation for so many of the Western devotees like Goswami Maharaj and Sagar Maharaj and Janardhan Maharaj and Ashram Maharaj. And so many of our dignitary Vaishnavas and Acharyas all got access to Srila Sridhar Maharaj through Gurudev's prayer and insistence. So we're so indebted to our Gurudev for giving us Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And we heard so many things from Gurudev about this occasion. The disappearance of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj took place in 1988 on this day, which is, there's no moon. It's called Amavasya. No moon, or sometimes called new moon. You cannot see the moon. And it was a day Srila Sridhar Maharaj chose to disappear. And several days before this took place, Gurudev told us how there were earthquakes throughout the Navadvip area, which is very unusual for that part of India. The earth moving in the impending tragedy of Srila Sridhar Maharaj's departure. And Srila Gurudev called Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj to come stay with us. Guru Maharaj is going to leave. He could feel it coming. Guru Maharaj is going to leave the world. You please stay with us to help us perform the samadhi, which is a very intricate procedure for the burial of a great saint like Srila Sridhar Maharaj. It's a very involved, lot of technicalities, and Gurudev knew, like, on this occasion, I will not be able to function. I can't do anything. And please, Puri Maharaj, you stay here and help us. And he did with his whole team. And Gurudev described described that it was either on the day or the day before, this gigantic mango tree that was standing next to the samadhi area in Navadvip, it left its body. And it was there, it was a very old mango tree that was very big. And Gurudev said that mango tree knew Guru Maharaj was leaving and didn't want to be here after his departure. And that mango tree knew that this space where it was standing will be needed for the samadhi, for the temple building of the Samadhi Mandir. And so that mango left the world. And Gurudev, always so loving to all the trees and animation, the plants, the animals, he took the wood from that tree and made the doors for the Samadhi Mandir. Beautiful doors made out of mango wood. And he made some prasadam tables for the Vaishnavas, used all that wood in service very carefully. So Gurudev said he was just, he could barely leave his room. They could hear him crying from his room. And Gurudev had to come out to attend this samadhi function in the Mat. And he paid his dandavats to the deities, and he told us that he'd never seen Radha Govinda and Mahaprabhu so happy. He's feeling devastated, and he's looking at the deities' faces, and they were in ecstasy, celebrating. And he said they were celebrating because they got their devotee back. He came back to the spiritual world, to their association, to their service, and they were so happy. He said he'd never seen Shishi Guru, Gauranga, Gandharva, Govinda Sundar looking so ecstatic. So, 3 days after the festival, Gurudev held a massive festival for Srila Sridhar Maharaj's disappearance. Devotees came from all over the world. Vaishnavas came from all over India. And everybody had so much respect for Srila Sridhar Maharaj, even like opposition party members and people who were, technically enemies or envious. They all came with their head bowed to bid farewell to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Gurudev made a massive feast, and everyone got a chonsa mango. That's the type of mango Srila Sridhar Maharaj likes so much. And so many donations came for Gurudev to build the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and he made such an original architectural wonder of the Samadhi with lions, and then the dome is in the shape of a mridanga, and then there's a Shiva Lingam on top with an umbrella, and then an overhang for all the devotees to be in the shade and protected from rain, the elements. There's a big shade, and one of the big pillars is where that mango tree stood. So it was that spot was meant for the pillar, and the mango tree knew. And there's a big flower in the spot where the mango tree stood. Gurudev marked that spot with some marble design of a flower. So many of us came after Srila Sridhar Maharaj left the world, but going to the Navadvip Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, we can feel who lived there and the voltage of that place. It's like after a nuclear fallout, you feel the radiation. And he was of such a powerful, he was of extreme magnitude. You can feel it when you go there to the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat and see where he chose to take shelter in the aftermath of the Chaitanya Mat, the Gaudiya Mat of Saraswati Thakur. It's the Aparad Bhanjanar Pat, the places where all offenses are forgiven. And it's Gupta Govardhan. Srila Sridhar Maharaj chose, this place is so merciful. I will stay here at the lotus feet of Giriraj Govardhan, hidden Govardhan, and knew, this Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat is glorious. Srimat Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. He composed this beautiful verse when it was just a thatched hut and a bamboo pole with a big flag, knowing that like one day the glories of this place will be spread all over the world. And what is being given there? The mercy of Rupa Goswami, the mercy of Gauranga Dev, Nityananda Prabhu, the 6 Goswamis, Mahaprabhu and his associates, Radha and Govinda, and under guidance of Lalita and Rupa Manjari. This is what's being given from here. And Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj, after 7 days of their meeting, became the successor. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was knowing at a certain point when that transition took place, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj removed himself from the chair of Acharya, putting Gurudev in that chair, and Gurudev was so hesitant. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, I'll break this whole thing. It'd be easy for me to dismantle this whole mat if you don't take this position. It took threats from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And Gurudev finally, after making so many excuses, said, okay, I'm your goat. You can cut my neck. You can cut my tail off. Do as you please. I am your goat, sacrificial goat. If you're Bengali, you'll know what this means. You see goats everywhere, you know their fate. When you're in Bengal, one day they'll be offered to Ma Kali. So Gurudev, I'm your goat. So Gurudev surrendered, took the burden from Srila Sridhar Maharaj upon his head, and gave full access to Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And for many years, I joined the mission 91, 92. Gurudev was very much still trying to be in the background, doing his service on behalf of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but not coming in his own position. You didn't see Gurudev manifest himself as his own shining star in the sky, which he very much was. But it took him a long time. He was always, we called him the divine servitor. You'll see in some of the early books of Gurudev, every other sentence, Guru Maharaj wanted this, Guru Maharaj wanted that, Guru Maharaj this, Guru Maharaj that, always quoting his Guru Maharaj, always referring back to his Guru Maharaj, and everything, every last thing was always about Guru Maharaj, what he wanted. That continued, obviously, for his whole life. But we saw, after some time, Gurudev started to accept that he was in this chair, that he was taking on the entire Western world and making things a little more accessible for the Western world. Like, for example, Vrindavan and Govardhan temples, those were established by Gurudev in Gurudev's time, but he allowed more in these temples. Like, he allowed the women to play mridanga, to lead the kirtans, to cook in the kitchen in the temples that he established. But if it was Srila Sridhar Maharaj's original established mat, it had to be like Orthodox style. Only Brahmins in the kitchen, Brahmin men, born Brahmin men. The pujari in Navadip has to be a born Brahmin brahmachari. 3. Born Brahmin brahmachari. 2. And saffron. Saffron, born Brahmin and a brahmachari. Yes. So Gurudev respected Srila Sridhar Maharaj's standards and boundaries, but he didn't impose that in the temples that he established later. So more merciful. So we are the products of our Gurudev's grace. Srila Sridhar Maharaj is our grandfather, Guru. We're so proud to be his grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And Srila Gurudev said, you don't know how fortunate you all are. He said, where you're going, you may not even know where you're going, but you're in the line of Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And that line is taking you to Radharani, under guidance, serving under guidance of Lalita and Rupa. That's where you're going in this Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And you don't know how much ecstasy and joy and beauty and charm and sweetness is waiting for you. And he said, just run in that direction. Don't hesitate. Don't get seduced by anything else in this world. You have so much wealth waiting for you. So, like, run for your life. Just keep going in that direction. And you'll see one day the glory that is being given to you on a golden plate. So, this disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj is honored by Vaishnavas all over the world. These Vaishnavas all over the world, not just in our temple, but temples all over the world, are singing his songs, his beautiful compositions, reading his beautiful poetry, his revelation and the revelation of the inner meaning of the Gayatri Mantra. Its original composition is available for who can understand and appreciate it. So much wealth of coming from his own pen, from his own mouth, from his life example. And someone of such high caliber and pure theistic, full-fledged theism is coming from Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And with so much unique contribution from his own original side, like his own special flair and style and presentation. It's all very unique and modern. Often he was very well read in philosophy and very much liked to take from Hegel, the German philosopher, and apply some of those different ideas from Western literature, applying it to modern Krishna conscious understanding, and his use of analogy He's famous for his use of analogy and his poetic style, and his command of the English language is incredible. Sometimes we can't even, born and raised in an English-speaking world, we have to consult the dictionary to understand what he's saying sometimes. And it's very high level, unique, and original, what's coming from him, always fresh. So we're very proud to be the grandchildren of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. This day is the day he left the world. As I always mention, that when the Vaishnavas, especially of this caliber, when they appear, it's like sunrise. When they disappear, it's like sunset, because they are not ordinary humans taking birth and dying. They're not in this vicious, repeated birth and death cycle of samsara. They're coming as agents of Krishna, appearing in this world, doing their service, and then when it's time, when they're being called back, they disappear like the sunset. The sun isn't gone, it's just not visible to us. So this is that day, 1988, when there is no moon in the sky, Srila Sridhar Maharaj disappears like the sunset. So I think we have some dignified, illustrious Vaishnavas here that we can ask to speak. I don't want to take more time. Did we hear from Padmanabha Maharaj? Is he here? Yes. Okay, and Hrishikesh Maharaj. If Hrishikesh Maharaj will please share something from your side, from your heart, we'd love to hear from you.
Om Gyanatimmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksharun Militamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Jai Nrsimha Maharaj ki Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai Jai Srimati Bhakti Lalita ki Jai Jai всем Vaishnava Maharajам ki Jai. Наши поклоны, дорогие преданные.
Our obeisances, dear devotees. We're really happy to see all of you. Very important day. We are in association Devananda Prabhu and Nrsimha Maharaja. At this moment we are in a little town, Yeisk. In the past, we were fortunate to meet followers of Krishna consciousness. And it's the greatest mercy, unreasonable mercy that we can't explain. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained the meaning of one's life. We're traveling and we see so many people who have no idea about this meaning. They live in ignorance. We ask, why do you live? What's the purpose? And majority of people fail to answer this question. And maybe we are also in ignorance still, but at least we have clear purpose and meaning in our life, thankfully to Guru Parampara and our teachers. First, we've met Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. After we read books of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, for me it was revolution. Books of Prabhupada, ISKCON, the full-on transformation of consciousness took place. But
Я помню,
further
соприкасался с книгами
on,
Срилы Сридхара
we
Махараджа.
needed
Сначала это,
development.
была первая книга «Эволюция сознания». И я начал
I
читать
think
книгу,
the
я
first
не мог понять,
book that
о
I've
чем эта
read,
книга сначала.
Subjective Evolution of
Но
Consciousness,
какой-то
and I remember I was
еврей,
reading and I
не знаю, может быть,
couldn't
кто-то
understand
после
what
Карачева,
this book is
еще
about.
как-то. Я открыл эту книгу, и мне
I
было
remember
такое, как бы, вторая революция. То есть как вот первая революция была во время прочтения Бхагавад-гиты, вторая вот после
I've
этой книги
experienced
«Эволюция
second
сознания».
revolution
Я поразился, насколько
after.
духовные мысли,
My first
там,
one took place when I was
достигающие
reading Bhagavad Gita.
некого начала, да, то есть, ну, есть некий фундамент.
So,
Прабхупада, он пришел,
yes, Bhaktivedanta Swami
положить этот
Prabhupada gave
фундамент
us
в мире Запада,
foundation.
для того, чтобы рассказать людям,
He gave us
что вообще сознание
ABC
Кришны
of
существует, и
some
что это
sort.
такое, и как люди вообще, и смысл жизни
He told us
существует.
about Krishna
Но
consciousness.
когда мы встаем на этот путь,
But when we join
оказывается,
this
что есть
path,
безграничные глубины.
we learn that
Вот Срила Сридхар Махарадж,
the
он
depth
порождал
is
глубочайшие идеи,
eternal, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj gave us this depth.
И Шрила Говинда Махарадж, благодаря которому
Srila Govinda Maharaj, thankfully to
с
whom
которым мы встретились, благодаря ему
we've
мы узнали,
met,
как идти по этому пути.
we've
Потому что
learned
этот путь, как
how
казалось,
to follow
не
this
такой вот
path.
простой, как кажется. Сначала мы
And it's
читали
not
книги,
an
нам
easy
казалось, вот мы
path.
прочитали, и мы уже такие же и
We
стали.
thought, oh,
Вот.
we're going to
Но
read
на
this
самом
book
деле,
and we're going to understand everything. But the
оказывается,
truth
очень много
is,
дел нужно сделать на этом пути. А оказывается, огромную
we have to
трансформацию
do
нужно
many
причем не
things.
с этим миром, а с
We
самими
have to
собой,
keep
с
transforming
восприятием. И поэтому работа
our
очень
perception
огромная.
ourselves.
И мы вчера вот
It's a huge labor,
встречались
every day's
с
labor.
людьми,
We've met some
обсуждали, как
people
мы сказали, что там у
yesterday
нас будет
and we had
как
a
бы день
discussion.
памятования об уходе
We shared
одного из наших
with
вайшнавов,
them
одного из наших
about
гуру. Вот,
the
и
day
там
of
люди были какие-то
remembrance,
такие, ну, они,
one of our
скажем так,
guru,
вообще ни о чем
Vaishnava.
не знают, и так очень
It
поверхностно.
was very, very
И сказали, ну, там мы
beginners.
слышали, что
And they
среди
said,
вайшнавов, там, как бы, среди каких-то духовных людей,
we've heard
когда
that
кто-то
amongst
уходит, это
Vaishnavas,
праздник, все веселятся, там, они дали, привели пример, что вот
that
ушел,
you
опять
guys
веселился.
celebrate disappearance,
Но я
someone
просто
dies and you
как-то вот сразу
celebrate, you have
задумался, что
festival.
насколько это, ну, вообще действительно такое
And it got me
веселье.
thinking,
Вот, и я вспомнил, как
why
уходил,
do we
ушел Шрила
celebrate
Гурудев,
this?
и для нас на
And
самом
I
деле
thought
это была
about departure of Gurudev.
катастрофа в каком-то смысле.
It was a
Потому
catastrophe
что
for us
мы встретились с Гурудевом в
because
2000 году, 10
we've
лет,
met Gurudev in
находились в
2000,
его поле.
and
И
for
это было
10
такое ощущение,
years
что
we
мы вообще
were
забыли о всех
around
горестях
him
и
and we
бедах.
forgot about
Такое ощущение было, что мы находились
all the
под каким-то
troubles.
колпаком.
We
И
were
когда
like
Гурудев
under the
ушел, такое
dome
ощущение, что
of his
мы
mercy. And when
лишились
he
всяческой
left,
защиты.
we
Но на
felt
самом
like we
деле и
lost
это такая
everything,
великая
all his
трагедия,
protection. It
великая
was a
трагедия.
great tragedy.
Мы должны в какой-то момент осознать, что
We
духовная
need to
жизнь это не
understand in
какой-то
this
такой
moment
веселуха, а
that
это серьезная
life
жизнь,
is
и это
not
жизнь, которая
fun,
наполнена
joy
радостью, но
only.
внутренней радостью. И, возможно,
The real
нам
joy comes
тяжело,
from within.
но внутри мы можем испытывать
Yes,
радость. И радость от
it
того,
could be
что
difficult
эти учителя,
externally, but we
которые
can
с
still
нами
feel the
находились,
joy.
находятся, они дают нам самое главное,
They give us this
осмысление
joy, our
человеческой жизни, для
teachers,
чего мы вообще видим.
understanding
Потому что самое
of
главное
human's
это
life,
видеть,
the
для чего мы
purpose, the
живем,
meaning.
что мы здесь делаем в этом
We
мире.
need to keep
И
focus on that.
уход вайшнавов, возможно,
And Vaishnava's
очень
departure,
тяжелая
perhaps,
трагедия для каждого ученика, но
is a really
с другой
intense
стороны, это
tragedy for every
экзамен,
disciple,
который может дать великое
but
вдохновение,
it's
потому
exam
что в этот
of
момент
some
мы думаем,
sort
чему нас
that
научили
can
духовные учителя,
grant
насколько мы
us
соответствуем этому,
new level of
насколько мы серьезны, и
inspiration.
мы можем в этот момент
We can
еще
see
больше
how serious
приложить
we really are, how
серьезности
committed
и
we
усердия
really
в нашем
are
духовном пути.
on
Поэтому
our
эти
spiritual
дни
path.
приходов вайшнавов, ухода
Therefore,
вайшнавов, праздники
these
Гуру,
days,
различные
appearances
экадыши,
and
как благословение
disappearances,
для нас. Я
Ekadashi,
в последнее
they
время
give
все больше и
us
больше ощущаю,
special
насколько эти благословенные
blessings.
дни, когда мы
And
строим
I
свою жизнь
feel
на
it
том,
more and
что нам
more,
хочется, куда нам хочется поехать
the
там или что-то
special
сделать.
mood, the
А
special
вот
vibe of
именно
these
мы берем
days.
наш календарь, нашу
We
паншу,
take
и
our
сверяем
calendar
свою жизнь с какими-то
and
событиями.
we
Вот. И эти события, они нас
connect
дисциплинируют.
it
Мы
with our
не
lives.
думаем, что мы,
We
я за
get
себя могу сказать, что я не думаю, что
discipline.
я продвинутый святой или святая личность. Святые люди, это
I don't consider
Авадхут
myself
Махарадж, Джанри Синг Махарадж,
advanced. as developed as Bhakti Lalita Devi and Nrsimha Maharaj, Avadhut Maharaj. They really served the saints of our line. But when we succeed to follow this goal, the ultimate goal, then these great festivals, perhaps it's not really a celebration. We can't call it celebration. It's the day of remembrance of the great saints. We can read biography of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. We can remember his pastimes. And in this way, our time, our consciousness is being filled with reality. We can meet devotees and remember these great personalities together. It's a great fortune for us that we've met Govinda Maharaj and his associates. For me personally, it's the most valuable what I have in my life. Hare Krishna. I don't want to take much time. Dandavats to all devotees all around the globe. I'm very fortunate because 30 years ago I participated in publishment of Sri Guru and His Grace. We translated and published this book. At this point, we really did not understand that this book has enormous depth and value, that we need to read and read it all over again. When our Gurudev left, I remember I've read this book again, and everything what was going on at this moment of Gurudev's departure. And I really felt every line, how it was expressed, how it was delivered in this book. Every detail. And I remember thinking, wow, this really fine rules. And Sridhar Maharaj delivered it in such a magnificent way. So I still read this book again and again. And I need to read many more times and keep learning about Guru. And for myself, I'm still extracting so many things that I need to follow from Sridhar Maharaj's teachings. Also, I would like to add that all these Sridhar Maharaj's books we have, thankfully, to the grace and service of Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj. We wouldn't know about all these things if it wasn't for him. So it's really important for us to glorify those who gave us access. Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj, he was a direct disciple of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada and Srila Govinda Maharaj. And for us, it's a greatest fortune to have association of Goswami Maharaj. Maybe he's not so actively preaching, but we need to remember by his mercy we get in touch with teaching of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Dandavat.
Srila Bhakti Vijay Nrsimha Maharaj ki jai, Srila Bhakti Sevan Hrishikesh Maharaj ki jai. So wonderful to hear from you, and from all glories to your service. And so such a beautiful day we're assembling, and you make it even more beautiful with your presence. And we'd like to invite any other speakers who can. Mahavira Maharaj, and then Tirtha Maharaj. Please share something with us today.
Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyanam Jana Shalokaya Chakshurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vande Vaikundha Vritistam Paramakaranaspodam Bimalam Avadhutam Yam Govindam Krin Shevayam Gurvatishtat Suparokam Guru Ganayarashri Satam Bhushitam Chintya Samasta Nipunam Shirupapadhanugam Govinda Vidhamo Dvalavaradhan Bhakyanvitam Sundaram Vande Vishva Gurun Chadivya Bhagavat Premano Hidija Pradam. Мы выражаем почтение всем
We
Вайшнавам,
express our greatest respect to
тем
all
по
Vaishnavas,
милости, которых мы получили
especially
соприкосновение с этой замечательной,
by whose mercy we
глубочайшей
got in touch with this
волной
beautiful
милости и
wave
понимания
of
Гаудия
mercy
Сиддханты.
and
Конечно,
understanding
это
of
Авадхут
Gaudiya
Махарадж в этом
Siddhanta.
сыграл участие очень
Obviously,
прямое.
it's
Нрсимха
Avadhut
Махарадж и все
Maharaj,
остальные
Nrsimha
Вайшнавы.
Maharaj,
Если
and
бы не
all
их
other
милость, мы бы
Vaishnavas.
никогда
If
не имели
not
в
his
этом изложении
mercy, we wouldn't
понятия
know ever
глубине и
about depth,
понимании линии духовной Гуру Махараджа,
understanding
который
of
принес к нам
lineage
из
of Guru
заботы его
Maharaj.
распространял с великой любовью и состраданием Говинда
He
Махараджа.
was,
По их
Govinda
милости
Maharaj
нашли
was
Говинда
bestowing
Махараджа.
it
По
upon
милости
us.
Говинда Махараджа мы
By his
получили
mercy,
доступ к этой кладовой
в Govinda
трансцендентных
Maharaj,
знаний,
we
которые
got
были,
access
как
to
вот
this
говорил
treasury.
Hrishikesh Махарадж, что они были записаны
As Hrishikesh Maharaj was
благодаря Бхакти Судхир Госвами
mentioning,
Махараджу. И как раз
all the books was
благодаря
written
Авадхут
thankfully
Махараджу все эти
to
замечательные
Goswami Maharaj
Харикатха,
and
она
thankfully to
переведена даже на
Avadhut
русский язык для
Maharaj.
тех, кто не знает
All
английского
this
языка и лингвистики и так далее.
Harikatha was
Но, к
translated
сожалению,
into
многие из нас, кто живет в России, не
Russian,
знают,
and not only,
ну, правильно,
but
не
many
могут понимать
people
глубоко
who live in
английский
Russia,
язык.
they
Большинство
don't
не
know
знают, типа меня. Поэтому для
English
меня
like
это, как
myself.
бы, это, можно сказать, бальзам на
So it's
сердце.
like a balm on
Книги
the
Гуру
heart,
Махараджи, конечно, и
all the books of
проповеди
Guru
Говинды
Maharaja
Махараджи.
and
Потому что по его
preachings,
милости
teachings of
мы
Govinda
получили
Maharaj.
доступ к этим кладовым. И,
Thankfully to
конечно,
him,
он направил
we
также
got
в
access to this
2000
treasure.
году
In
Бхакти
2000,
Судхир Госвами
in year
Махараджа,
2000,
чтобы он
Bhakti
помогал
Sudhir Goswami
Авадхуту
Maharaj
Махараджу и распространял именно точку
was
зрения
guided
Гуру Махараджа.
by Govinda Maharaj to
Поэтому
help
мы
Avadhut
также благодарны
Maharaj in his preaching.
Бхакти Судхир Госвами Махараджу, который для нас очень многое
Bhakti
дал,
Sudhir
дал
Goswami Maharaj gave us
видение,
so much,
понимание,
the
глубочайшее
vision,
понимание
the
Гуру
deep
Махараджа. Поэтому
understanding of
перед
Guru
всеми этими
Maharaj.
личностями мы
So
всегда будем как бы
we
сердечным
offer our
Гуру
obeisances. We
Махараджа, его
are forever
наставления будем
indebted
держать всегда
to all these
высоко
great
над головой,
personalities.
как представители
And
Бхагавана Сарасвати Такура и нашей
the
Рупануги
knowledge,
Сампрадай.
everything what
Для
Guru
нас
Maharaj
это
gave us, we keep
высочайшая
high above
цель и
our
смысл
head.
нашей жизни и глубинное
It's
понимание
the
Гаудия
ultimate
Сиддханты,
goal
учения
of our
Чайтаньи
life,
Махапрабху.
is
Мы
deep
можем только
understanding
получить благодаря
philosophy Mahaprabhu.
именно общению с этими великими вайшнавами.
We
Я
get
преклоняюсь
thankfully
перед этими
to
вайшнавами,
association
конечно,
of
в
these
день
greatest
памяти,
Vaishnavas.
когда мы
And
можем
on this
памятовать
day
и
of remembering
прославлять Гуру Махараджа, мы
Srila
также
Sridhar Maharaj,
получаем
glorifying him. By glorifying him, we get his mercy. I have no doubts about it. On these great days when we're remembering Vaishnavas, trying to glorify and serve them by our thoughts, deeds, and words, and we're gonna keep doing this as long as our heart's beating, as long as we breathe in this material world. My humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas.
Jai Srila Bhakti Mahavira Maharaj ki Jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Maharaj, for these great words. And now we want to ask Rasananda Tirtha Maharaj to speak. Are you here with us?
Dandavat, Sankarshan Prabhu, Dandavat, dear devotees, Bhakti Lalita, and everybody. I cannot show video, I have only audio. I want to congratulate everybody with this great day, disappearance day of Srila Guru Maharaj. I so much thinking have in my head, but I want to say only some little about Guru Maharaj. And what I can say, I feeling that so much Vaishnavas have appreciation of Guru Maharaj. Once one devotee from another mission present me book of Srila Guru Maharaj, and in social media now we can see that Vaishnavas from different missions glorify Guru Maharaj, but in such a way I think in how wonderful opportunity we have to be the disciple of Guru Maharaj. And Avadhut Maharaj a few days ago, he quoting Bhagavad Gita that when Lord Krishna say, if you bring me flower with love, I will accept this. And Avadhut Maharaj comments this, if materialist bring to Lord flower, Lord Krishna not accept this, because with love. Krishna not accept this with love. And how we can understand that we have love to Srila Guru Maharaj, not only theoretical knowledge about him, not only glorify like follower in Facebook or reader of book Guru Maharaj. We can be in the line of disciple of Guru Maharaj, Govinda Maharaj, modern Acharya, Avadhut Maharaj, Madhusudan Maharaj, Goswami Maharaj. Through this channel we can have some bhakti from them, real bhakti to Guru Maharaj. And in this day I can congratulate everybody that we have this very rare opportunity to be a part of family of Guru Maharaj, not only friends, but sometimes Gurudev, Govinda Maharaj told that Guru Maharaj is our grandfather. So congratulate to everybody with this holy day. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj and all Guru Varga. My dandavats to all.
Dandavat Maharaj, thank you for sharing your heart with us. And is there anybody else? Okay, so we will do our Pushpanjali here in Gupta Govardhan, and everyone's welcome to join in from wherever you are, offer flowers from your heart side, and we'll continue our festivities. And Jai Srila Bhakti Avadhut Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you so much for joining us, and to all the assembled sannyasi and acharyas, all the illustrious devotees. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful occasion. And we'll continue our festivities in the evening.
Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Srila
Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Srila
Jaya